I don't know about you, but I'm certainly going to be glad when Mercury in retrograde is over. My goodness, a lot of stuff going on. So how's your life? How are you doing? I hope you're doing as well as I am. I'm happy. Let me have a moment of silence here. I've got a couple of people I need to tune into that I haven't yet. Just give me a moment. Good. Good. Excellent. We're going through some real challenging times. Everything is being turned upside down and inside out. Outside of us in the world, it's also happening inside of you. You're being turned inside out and upside down. And this is a good thing. We live in a transitory universe. Everything is always changing. We should always expect the rug to be pulled out from underneath us at any moment. Anything can happen, and usually does. Yep. The interesting thing about my videos is that probably the best part of the teaching takes place between the words and in the silence. And the way that that teaching is done is through a thing called transmission. In a transmission, there is a connection between two sentient beings in which the heart is totally open to the other, and then it allows one to transmit awarenesses, energy, awakening, karmas, all kinds of things that can go on when you're working with a teacher. And this transmission should be valued. Many times we get caught up in the words, and I always like to think in my egoic self that my words are just golden. But really, what's golden about me is what's between the words, the part of me that has no ego. Many times when you're talking, your ego is present a little bit, even during a meditation. But between the words, it's much different. It's better teaching. And you might ask yourself, well, how can that be? There's no words. How am I going to learn anything? It's because spirit doesn't work through language. We work through language. We interpret spirit through our language, whatever the language that is. But the divine self, that higher nature that is in us, that is everything, and is also nothing, doesn't speak English. It speaks intentionality. It's what's behind the words that spirit gets. In Buddhism, They talk a lot about, there's much discussion about mindfulness. And I always had a bit of a problem with that, to be honest with you, because I always thought mindfulness was just to be aware of everything. Man, man, your mind is going here. You know, did I, what foot did I use when I walked inside the room? And where did I put my shoe? And what, and your mind is going like crazy. That's not mindfulness. Mindfulness is watching your intention and where you're placing your will. Another part of Buddhism that's not talked a whole lot is right language, saying the right words. And that, again, you say, well, how do you mean saying the right words? That's not it. Well, when they're talking about right language, they're talking about the energy behind the words. I've spoken about this quite a bit in the past, that words have an energy, they have a feeling to them. And depending upon the intention and what the word is defined, how the word is defined throughout the Akashic records, or whatever you want to call it, how that word is defined creates an energy. I talked a lot, I've mentioned this, but I'll repeat this because there's some new people here. We say words and we don't even think about it. We don't even think about what our words mean. We don't consider that when we talk about somebody else, that has karma, that the intention behind our gossip has karma. This has taken me a long time to get. That's why I'm telling you now. I mean, I'm 73 going on 74, and I'm just now learning this. So this is the advantage of having a teacher, because you get to hear what I have discovered and uncovered all of these years, and through transmission, I can give you that and give you a boost so that you don't have to wait another 40 years or 30 years to come to this realization. I'm making it real to you right now if your heart is open. And you can stop your mind and quit arguing with me. Just listen, witness. Who knows, you might learn something. About spirit. We use words all the time, but every word has a feeling to it. We have a girlfriend or a boyfriend. In a moment of affection, we call them baby. Why do we call them baby? It's because we associate baby with this being in our hand that just loves us and that we love it unconditionally. Holding that baby, you just feel that love. And so when I'm looking at, you know, not that I have any now, but in the past, when you'd have a girlfriend, when I'd have a girlfriend, they would sometimes refer to me as baby, as an affectionate term, or I would to them. But if you look at the word a little deeper, I don't mean to make them into an infant. They're an adult. I don't expect them to act like a baby. So then you quit using words like baby and you start using words like darling or sweetheart, things like that. You quit cursing, because cursing is a bad use of language. When you use language with bad intention, then you're creating karma for yourself. So we've fallen into this over our life, and it's become part of our society and our words. And we just go around and we'll say something that when somebody gets angry, they may call somebody a son of a bitch. And there's an energy behind that. But there's a deeper energy into it when you get into the words. The word says that that person was born from a dog, which is a very derogatory thing. You know, not that dogs are bad. I like dogs, but I digress. It's the meaning behind. We need to parse out our words. My great Sophroni, who died when I think she was close to 198 or so. She died when I was about 7. When she was growing up in Texas, she was very Christian, very proper. And when she was 16, she was mortified to learn that damn Yankee was 2 words. She would have never said damn about anything, but it's just a term they use, damn Yankee, damn. And when she realized that it was 2 words, it destroyed her. How could she refer to somebody and damn them? How can you refer to somebody and use harsh language? So we start looking at our language. And language has a very powerful effect upon us and on others. When I was in elementary school back in the 50s, there was conversation around that time, as I recall. It just might have been in my school with the teacher I had. But it seemed like there was a push to take our national anthem from being the Star-Spangled Banner into America the Beautiful. I think we ought to look at that. We say our national anthem is the Star-Spangled Banner, which glorifies war, destruction, fighting. And as a result of that anthem, we were a very warlike nation. There's an energy behind, oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light, this explosions and everything. Instead of having a national anthem of, oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, golden. I don't know, I can't, too gone now to remember the words, but I can sing it when I'm not in the state of mind. But it's a beautiful song, easy to sing. And when you think about America, America the Beautiful, it pulls up a different vibration about our country than when you sing the Star-Spangled Banner that has war in it. Language, it affects everything. How do you refer to yourself? You always refer to yourself as fat or stupid, or, and I'm guilty of this, getting old, making that an excuse. I don't know. Can we just stop using bad language? Start choosing words. My teacher was pretty interested in this sort of thing. He said you should not have anything in your apartment or your house that doesn't add to you. In other words, you go through, and if you saw something and it was kind of grody and you thought, well, I got to replace that one day, then you made that a priority to replace. You should have nothing in your home that doesn't make you feel good. If you're looking at a picture and it brings up an old memory and I'm in grief or everything, put the picture away. Put it in a box, put it in the closet. You can pull it out later. But you should only have things around you that make you feel good. Flowers, beautiful pictures, I have a little picture of my teacher, right? I keep that in front of me. This is mindfulness. This is what it means to be mindful of where your mind is going and the energies behind why it's going there. Are you letting your mind go into those areas because you're afraid and you want to, pull up your strength and go in there and maybe do battle or something? I don't know. Be kind to yourself. We're human. We came into this world full of deaf and blind people, teaching us how to better navigate inside a world full of deaf and blindness. But I find myself right now quoting Jesus Christ when Jesus said, "Hear, hear, let he who has eyes to see, see. Let him who has ears to hear, hear what the Spirit has to say." So when you start waking up, you become aware of new ways of seeing. You start hearing things a little differently. You start dispelling the darkness within yourself, your fears, your angers, your horrible memories. Everybody's different. As I have come along in this life and have had the help of many masters who help me with certain set of powers and things. You look inside somebody and you see their injury. Maybe you don't see what caused the injury, but you know it's there, you see it. Not everybody was born into a nice family. Not everybody was loved as a child. Some people were terribly abused, sexually and physically and emotionally and mentally abused their whole life. So when these type of people come in front of you, you could say they're probably not very pleasant, because being pleasant hasn't been part of their experience. And when you can see that in a person and you can empathize with them by seeing their injury and their hurt and their anger and their fear, and underneath it all is a longing to be free. Now you have something you can work with. You're not going to say things that are silly or stupid. Because you have empathy, you don't go up to someone who's in a deep depression and tell them to snap out of it. Just go, let's go for a vacation. Let's go for a walk. You know, I've mentioned this before in the past, but maybe not to some of the new ones. But some of my behaviors in the past that caused harm were because I was not awake. I wasn't able to, I didn't even know to look inside and what was causing them to be like they are. You know, we get around people that have been injured and been hurt. We want to push them away because they're not very loving, they're not very kind, they're very angry, sometimes even violent. So we push them away. When I was part-time teaching for special ed children, the children that needed the love the most acted in ways that would drive any love away. They would attack, they would yell, they would scream. And yet what they really wanted was to be loved. There's a lot of mental illness out there. People are they're mentally and emotionally ill. Why would you hurt somebody or attack somebody who's ill, who's sick? We are better than that. We are the awakened ones. Don't deny it to me. You're watching this video. That means you're awakened. Nobody else would be interested. And you might say, well, this is my first time. Well, if you watch a second one, if you come back next week, it's in you, okay? So that spark of love, that spark of light that we uncover in ourselves becomes truly, truly amazing when you use that light to see if you can awaken people who are suffering. In my 30 years of teaching, I've had many students, a great percentage of them had horrible, horrible lifetimes as children. They came in and they were really put through the ringer. Many of them were sexually abused before they were 10 years old. That'll scar you. That'll wound you. Others have been bullied all through school. Bullied, bullied, bullied. That'll wound you. That'll hurt you. Some people have fallen completely in love with someone only to have that person leave them and go to be with somebody else, and to feel that intense loss and grief and betrayal. People come to me as a teacher not because they're enlightened, but because they want enlightenment. If they were enlightened, they wouldn't need me. And I don't appeal to everybody. As I've said many times, one size shoe doesn't fit every foot on the planet. And even if you find people that wear your size shoe, they may not like your style. But when you find someone that wears your size shoe and likes your style, you can work with them. And what I do with my students generally is I work them underneath without words. I start working on their injuries and the things that have clouded up their consciousness, that have kept them from seeking God, from keeping them from meditating, keeping them from enlightenment. Enlightenment is getting rid of the darkness inside of you, and then getting rid of the darkness that you see in others. It's all God, but you can't see that at a human level. You have to open up these upper chakras and start seeing the spirit and gaining a vision and a sense of how you can properly address the soul in front of you to make their life a little better, so they don't hurt themselves anymore, so they quit hurting others. When somebody comes to me and they have a really, really bad problem, let's add them, smoking cigarettes. I use smoking cigarettes because of all the drugs, it is the hardest to let go of. It's even harder to let go of cigarettes than it is heroin. So when they say, can you help me get rid of this addiction? I say, I'll do my best. And you know what I do? I don't pray that they quit smoking. That's just reshuffling the chaos. I pray that they're healed, that they become awakened. If you become awakened, you don't do bad things so much. We're in a body, still going to do it every now and again. But no, you've got to look beyond the cover of the book and look into the contents. Some of the books that you open of your students and of people around you, when you start to see and have empathy, you will be amazed. It becomes a horror story at many times. And you're just trying to give this story of their life a hopeful and happy ending. Something that they can go out of this incarnation and enter into the next one fresh. If you leave this body, if you leave this cauldron of transitional creation, and you walk over to the other side, you take everything with you. All of your angers, all of your victim attitude, all of your prejudices, all of your racism. You take those two with you to the other side. And you'll reincarnate with them. They won't be the same language, they won't be the same people, but the experiences of all of that you'll take with you. You'll just be done in a new language with new people in maybe a different circumstance, but the energy and what created it, the abuse, the bullying, all that stuff, was waiting for you on the other side. I know that everybody goes to religion, they say, okay, I just want, when I finish with this life here, I just want to go into heaven and I never have to come back here again. I never want to come to this earth again. And I'm saying to you that if you have that attitude, you are destined to reincarnate here. Because you have the fear of reincarnating here, or you have the aversion to being reincarnated here. And this world is the world that God created. And we are experiencing this world through our own apprehensions and how we are. If I am angry, I'm going to live in an angry world. If I'm a racist, I'm going to live in a racist world. If I'm addicted, I'm going to live in a world of addictions. If I'm afraid, I'll be in a world of terror. You can't get away from it, but you can transcend it. You can transcend this. And I'm going to let you know something. I will die. This physical body will go away. Probably sooner than I think it will. It usually does. But I want to reincarnate right back here. Right back into this earth. Because while there's great suffering and trials and tribulations and strife going on here, there's also beauty and love and caring and compassion. It's like, which is your national anthem? Is the song you're singing when you think about yourself, the Star Spangled Banner, full of rockets and fighting and defeating? Or is your national anthem America the Beautiful? For amber waves of grain, for purple mountains' majesties, above the fruited plain. It's a different feeling, isn't it? Imagine if we had that as a national anthem, that before every sporting event, before every political event, we sang that song. What would our world be like? What songs are you singing about yourself? What is it you're convincing yourself that you are? And I'm here to tell you that you are God in the flesh. Your flesh is made of God. Your consciousness is God consciousness, being manifested in this limited view of realities. The law of attraction has pulled people into you that will cause you to be challenged and also will cause you to be encouraged. This is a wonderful place. You can advance your soul so much on this earth. I have watched some of my students do that. They were born into families, as I said, that were nightmares, really not good. Lots of abuse, drug abuse, violence. And I watch as they meditate and they do their spiritual practice, I watch them drop away that stuff. It drops away from them. They become more loving, more accepting, more compassionate. So when they reincarnate, they won't go back into that old family that everybody, and even if they are, they'll have the experience of just pushing right through it, not letting it take them out, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. So it's really important for us to get on the enlightenment path, to try to find out our connection to our divine nature, and to, in every way we can, try to see that divine nature in everyone. I pray for everyone. I especially pray, fervently pray, for people who are bad actors. People who bully me, people who put me down, people who I see are running countries and just, with an iron fist, with no compassion, just power. When I see sentient beings displaying this, I pray for them. And how I pray for them is I pray that the divine love of the universe, which is what the universe is, will awaken inside their heart. Because I know that when that awakening starts, they will start going through an evolving process that will eventually lead them out of that hell world that they're in, where they get away from the hungry ghost and the dog eat dog and just the darkness and the hopelessness and the fear and the terror of the hell world that they're in, and move into a higher experience of this beautiful planet, a more wonderful experience of what each lifetime is and how great it is to be alive. And when time comes and the body gets worn out, you just trade it in on a new one. As the old Buddhist saying goes, the good news is you're going to live forever. The bad news is you're going to live forever. So that means that what you're doing right now and the words that you use and the prayers that you say and how you're reacting to everyone in the world is a measurement of your own enlightenment. How you speak of yourself. Are you always affirming that you're broke? Are you always affirming that you're overweight? Why are you taking the divine nature of God and harming yourself in that way? Don't lie to yourself, but just look at the good that you do. How many people did you say hi to today? Well, we're in sequester. You don't say hi to anybody. I beg your pardon. When I take my little dog for a walk, I see people, social distance, but I always ask how they're doing. And sometimes I'll comment on what a beautiful day it is. When I go to the store and I'm at the checkout counter, I look at the lady or the man who's checking my groceries, and I see God checking my food. And I love God. Not in a sexual way, of course, but I love God. And God is all around me, and God is all there is. So I guess I'm going in circles again, huh? It's not the words. It's the intention that matters. But words can sometimes color the intention. So use kindness. There's never, ever an excuse for being mean, There's never an excuse for doing power plays on someone. There's never an excuse for being angry and hurtful. Get rid of that darkness and you will start to become enlightened. It's easy to do. Just seek God with all of your heart. Seek your divine nature more than anything. Learn to love yourself. Heal yourself. Physician, heal thyself. As I heal these wounds inside of me, then I am more able to heal the wounds in others. As I remove the big chunk of wood from my own eye, I can then see clearly to remove that little mote from your eye. So I'm going to finish with one more song of meditation. This is one of my favorite ones. It reminds me of my teacher. And it's by Joaquin Lovato in his album, Ecology. And my teacher used to take his students scuba diving. He was quite athletic when he was alive. He was amazing. Anyway, so we're going to end up today's meditation starting the first day of the Aquarian age, the new age. And this one is called Coral Sea. So I'd like for you to just open your heart. You can meditate by watching me if you want. Sometimes that allows the transmission to come through. Let's do this song and let the love flow. Namaste.